Thank you. I am so grateful for all of you being here, for the voiceless, for the suffering, and for the dying. A couple of weeks ago, Peter released a video showing a group of celebrities watching animals being experimented on. And as their faces cracked in grief, you could hear the animals. And the sounds that you heard were like nothing I have heard. I couldn't tell what animals were making those sounds. They were high-pitched screams of entreaty and pain and deep fear and calls for help that had never come. It was heartbreaking. And afterwards they interviewed the celebrities, and one of them said, "I didn't realize they're torturing these animals. They're breaking their spines. They're killing them. They're chopping their heads off. It's disgusting. It's forceful tubing down necks. It's removal of body parts. It's no anesthesia. It's cruelty." But we're here today because we know these stories and we care. Our days and our nights shake with screams like that. In my inbox, where I receive messages from different animal rights groups, I see story after story of abuse on catastrophic scales, abuse that stops me in my tracks, that makes me impossible to be a mother in that moment, to be a friend in that moment. I am silent with shock. It happens still now all the time. In Kenya, frightened donkeys are being beaten to death with mallets at government-sanctioned abattoirs in Kenya so that their skins can be boiled down for traditional Chinese medicine. Rabbits are having their feet removed for good luck charms. Piglets, eyes wide with fear, shaking on kill floors, listening to their friends being slaughtered. Last September, 1,422 dolphins slaughtered in the Faroe Islands. Last week, despite global outrage, they killed another 99. And if you need numbers, let me run through some numbers. 26 million dogs killed in the dog meat trade, 1.5 billion cows and calves killed for leather, 80 billion land animals, 1 to 3 trillion fishes killed every year for food. Gentle, intelligent, sensitive, playful, loving animals are being butchered, beaten, burned, and boiled every day. This is murder on an industrial scale, and we have to stop it. I came into animal rights largely because of my dog. This isn't uncommon. And she's a remarkable creature. She's a little mutt, a little crossbreed. Her name is Mouse. And I've had animals before. I've had animals before, but there was something about her. There's something about her. She's wonderful. One day I fell down the stairs, not drunk. And as I was lying at the bottom of the stairs, curled up on the floor holding my ankle, she came round me and she curled into my side, desperately looking for a way to protect me. When my partner and my daughter play fight, she doesn't get it, so she steps in between them. She's only little, and she tries to stop the fighting with her own body. She's tiny. And it was because of her that finally, when I came across something called the Yulin Dog Meat Festival, I could not process what I was seeing. The animals, as wonderful as my little dog, our healer, our guide, were being tortured to death for food. And inevitably, from Yulin, I went into all the other systems of animal agriculture that exist today. And it is everywhere. This is when I started to realize that animal abuse is cross-cultural, it's global, it's endemic, it is everywhere. And so when people think that animal rights activists are soft-hearted and soft-headed, they are so wrong. We are here because we are torn apart by grief and rage. And we are told that when we try to change things, that we are the criminals. But actually, it is what goes on behind the slaughterhouse walls. Those are the real crimes. What goes on in the laboratories that test on animals, those are the real crimes. And they may not be crimes in law, but they are crimes against humanity, against compassion, against innocence, against life, against animals. It is time, as George Monbiot has put it, for a new ethics, a 21st century morality, a wider moral compass. We have to challenge everything. We have to reframe everything. How do we do this? We take to the streets like today. We march. We find ways to speak to those who do not want to listen. And fuck me, I know that's hard. And we make the invisible visible. We bring the hidden into the light. We use language. It's not leather, it's the skin of a cow who wanted to live. It's not veal, it's the body of an unweaned calf shipped hundreds of miles from his mother. It's not animal agriculture, it's the slaughter of billions of sentient creatures who wanted to live and be free, just like us. And it is not biodiversity loss, it's communities of animals, of individuals dying because we have destroyed their world, the natural world, our world, in our greed and our cruelty. And we tell their stories. We tell their stories of their sacrifice, of their love for each other, their courage, their defiance, and their struggle. Because these are the stories that could help us finally understand what they lose and what we lose in their annihilation. We must never let the animals and their suffering be invisible again. And we end animal agriculture. We crush the meat and dairy industries. Because believe me, we will never stop animal cruelty until we stop animal agriculture. Until we stop seeing animals as things that we consume, we will also never stop seeing them as things that we can beat and skin and torture and experiment on. That is why I consider lifestyle veganism not a lifestyle choice. It is a political choice to resist the hegemony of the multinational conglomerate. To resist misogyny by rejecting a system built on commodifying the bodies of mothers. To end climate and ecological destruction and to confront the culture of cruelty that is rotting us from the inside out. Finally, what we have to do is come together. And I want to quote Dr. Laila Kassim from Animal Think Tank, something she said last August. If we want to end the moral atrocity of what we do to our animal kin, if we want to build a kinder, more beautiful world where slaughterhouses no longer exist, where cages are empty, where there are only sanctuaries, not zoos and farms, we need to build a movement that is powerful enough to demand change. In this time, we must practice and model the compassion towards each other and to other species that we will need to go forward into the challenged future we are facing. We pay tribute today to the animal activists of the past. We nurture the animal activists of the future. There is no ego here. There is no infighting. All approaches are needed now. Do not let them divide us, because if we are divided, the only ones that suffer are the animals. Animal rights is the greatest social justice issue since human slavery. I really believe that. But the tide is turning. This is an uprising. We have the brilliant Camp Beagle holding MBR acres hostage since July 2021 and reminding those of us who have forgotten, and there are those still who have forgotten what is done to young animals in the name of science. We have animal justice movement who last month freed 5 puppies from MBR beagles. We have the daring legal challenge to factory farming that is scrap factory farming, and we have brilliant acts of non-violent civil disobedience through disruptive mass movement animal rebellion, who have done so much to raise the awareness of the intersection between climate, animal and social justice. We will be hearing from one of the co-founders, Dan Kibbe, later. We have the Hunt Sabs, Stop the Cull, the Save movement. Incredible groups working to carve out a better world for ourselves, for animals, for planet, for future generations. And we are here today to turn this tide of change faster, to end the slaughter faster, to save the planet faster. And so I ask you here today, in this moment, in this time of ecological breakdown, to step fully into the role we were always meant to occupy, that of stewards, of tender caretakers of the planet and her animals. Let us heal the rift between ourselves and the natural world, because what, if anything, are animals but the natural world made sentient? And let us put ourselves in service to her repair, to her restoration. In my last 2 speeches, I quoted the animal rights activist Philip Wallen. As a tribute to you here today, he said this: animal rights activists like you are the bravest of all first responders, because you confront a deeply entrenched status quo of vested interests, industry, politics and culture. You are Lincoln's better angels of our nature and the beacon on the hill. And the day will dawn when civilization will owe you a debt of gratitude that could never repay. You are the beacons on the hill. And to the animals, I want to say this. I'm going to paraphrase a speech by Emma Hurst, a member of the New South Wales Legislative Council representing the Animal Justice Party. This is what she said. I'm paraphrasing, I've added. Our promise to the animals is this: you have all of us. The calves torn from their mothers, we see you. The donkeys in those Kenyan slaughterhouses, we see you. The dogs on the dog meat farms, we see you. The minks on the fur farms, we see you. The fish crushed at the bottom of the nets, we see you. The dolphins slaughtered in the Faroe Islands, we see you. The chickens in the factory farms, we see you. The puppies at MBR Acres, we see you. We know you're suffering. We will never be silent, and we will push forward no matter what life throws our way, because the cruelties inflicted on you must end, and we will do all we can to see that happen. We will protect you. We stand by you. We will fiercely defend you. You have all of us. Thank you.